Ceremony. Please turn off or silence all cell phones and any other electronic devices that may cause a distraction during the ceremony. You'll have the opportunity to take photos during the ceremony. Please feel free to take as many as you like. We ask that you keep the center aisle clear for ceremonial participation movement. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and the United States Border Patrol, welcome to today's change of ceremony. Your presence at today's historic event is greatly appreciated. I am your Master of Ceremonies, Deputy Chief Patrol Agent Dennis Harmon. Today's ceremony will consist of the presentation of national colors, promotion to chief, and the transfer of command leadership. I will briefly explain today's ceremony, and then we will begin. It is customary for everyone to stand during the entrance of the command party and remain standing for the rendering of honors, the posting of colors, performance of the national anthem, and Pledge of Allegiance. Uniformed personnel wearing headgear should perform the proper salutes. Uniformed personnel without headgear and non-uniformed personnel should place their right hand over their hearts during the honors. Again, thank you for your attendance, and we hope you enjoy today's events. The reviewing official for today's event is Raul L. Ortiz, Chief, United States Border Patrol. The Commander of Agents is Assistant Chief Albert Herrera, and the organizational guidon bearer is Supervisory Border Patrol Agent Crandall Shank. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the command party.
All uniformed personnel, march in.
It is my honor to introduce Chief, United States Border Patrol, Raul L. Ortiz. Outgoing Chief Patrol Agent, Jason D. Owens. Incoming Chief Patrol Agent, William J. Maddox. Incoming Chief Maddox's wife, Brenda Maddox. We would also like to welcome all of our distinguished guests, elected officials, and family and friends who are in attendance today. Please remain standing for the presentation of the national colors by the U.S. Border Patrol Honor Guard. The national anthem will be performed by Mission Support Specialist Margaret Hill. I will conduct the Pledge of Allegiance, and the invocation will be by Border Patrol Chaplain Brian D. Cornyn.
broad stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All uniformed personnel, order, arms. Parade, rest.
At ease. Please remain standing for the invocation by Border Patrol Chaplain Brian D. Cornyn.
If you guys could bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather here today. We ask for your hand of guidance and protection to the men and women of the United States Border Patrol. Please be with Houlton Sector as we gain new leadership and grant wisdom to this leadership we have been blessed to receive. With keen insight and remembrance of the past, allow us to be led with honor and courage through this season in our nation's history. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. On this momentous occasion, we would like to present a symbol of greeting to Mrs. Maddox. It is my privilege to introduce Chief Raul Ortiz, but before I invite Chief Ortiz to the podium, I'd like to tell you a little bit about him. Raul L. Ortiz became the 25th Chief of the United States Border Patrol on August 15, 2021. He oversees domestic security operations outside of the port of entry along our nation's borders, which includes more than 5,000 miles with Canada and nearly 2,000 miles with Mexico, hundreds of coastal miles in our territories in the Caribbean. He proudly leads more than 20,000 Border Patrol agents and professional staff across the country as they perform the Homeland Security mission. Chief Ortiz began his career with the United States Border Patrol on May 13, 1991, in San Diego sector as a member of Academy Class 247. Chief Ortiz worked his way up through the ranks at Chula Vista, Brownfield, and Campo stations. Chief Ortiz took his dedication to national security to the global stage in 2009, where he served as director of the Border Management Task Force, senior advisor to the Department of Homeland Security's envoy to Afghanistan and Pakistan, and as the DHS attaché in Kabul, Afghanistan. He returned to the United States in 2012 when he was promoted to Deputy Chief of Law Enforcement Operational Programs at Border Patrol Headquarters in Washington, D.C., where he served as principal advisor on enforcement operations and administrative requirements to accomplish the Border Patrol strategic plan. Chief Ortiz returned to the field in 2013 as Deputy Chief Patrol Agent of the Rio Grande Valley sector. He returned to Del Rio sector as the Chief Patrol Agent in 2019. On March 2, 2020, he entered on duty as the Deputy Chief of the United States Border Patrol. Prior to joining the U.S. Border Patrol, he served in the U.S. Army's 8th Infantry Division in Baumholder, Germany. He attended the University of Texas in San Antonio and Southwest Texas Junior College, completing studies in political science and criminal justice. Chief Ortiz attended the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Leadership Institute and the Harvard Kennedy School's Executive Education for Senior Managers in Government. He is a Federal Emergency Management Agency Certified Master Exercise Practitioner. His awards include 2 Meritorious Honor Awards from the Department of State, the Certificate of Achievement from the State of Texas, and the Superior Civilian Service Medal, the Department of Defense 3rd highest civilian honor. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Raul L. Ortiz.
Good morning. And when you have 6 stars on your collar, you have to wear glasses. That's a prerequisite, isn't it, Chief? First off, I want to welcome our guest. We've got some retired chiefs. We've got Acting Chief Rich Fortunato from Swanton Sector, and of course the family members and our stakeholders, our partners. It is a great pleasure of mine as the 25th Chief of the United States Border Patrol to participate in my first change of command for a sector chief. And so this sets the bar for the remaining 19 sector chiefs. They better do it right. I was thinking about something this morning, and I'm a big fan of Lincoln, and anytime I do have a leadership opportunity or discussion, he tends to sort of come to mind. And one of the quotes that he said was, "I will prepare, and someday my chance will come." Your chance has come, Chief Maddox. When you think about what's happening, not just here in the U.S., but across the globe, whether it's the COVID pandemic, whether it's the earthquakes that hit Haiti, whether it's the situation that exists along our southwest border or what's happening in Afghanistan. I will let you know that the Department of Homeland Security, CBP, and the United States Border Patrol is involved in every single one of those events. And the men and women that proudly wear this uniform and have worn this uniform step up to those causes each and every day, and they do it with extremely amount of pride and dedication to this country. But as I thought about what this event meant, I thought about leadership and sort of three things that came to mind. You know, we talk about trust. We talk about trust in your people, trust in your community, but most importantly, trust in yourself, Chief Maddox. We talk about leadership. We talk about developing others. We talk about innovation, but we also think about inspiration. Inspire others, Chief Maddox. Then we talk about allegiance. And we're not talking about allegiance to you, Chief Maddox. We're talking about loyalty and commitment to the entire group and to the cause. And our cause is Homeland Security. As Chief Harmon mentioned, I was appointed the 25th Chief of the United States Border Patrol a few weeks ago. And I thought to myself, well, I better come up with a plan, or else somebody's going to come up with a plan for me. And so our team sat down and we started working on a strategy. And I wanted to share just a couple of pieces of that real quick, because I think it's important and it sets the stage for Chief Maddox's leadership and tenure here as the next chief of Houlton sector. You know, number one is we recognize as an organization it's going to be difficult for us to control the border, but we can have mission advantage of our adversaries, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that that happens. The second goal of our strategy is we're going to have organizational excellence. And as I look around the room here and see the men and women in green, I'm assured that we will have excellence within our ranks, as you guys, each of you, epitomize that. And then the third pillar of our strategy is we're going to engage with our partners. And as I look around the room at the other agencies that are represented here, I can tell you that Houlton sector is already well on their way to building those strong bonds and relationships that are important to keep our communities safe and our borders even safer. I'd also like to make it a point to thank Chief Owens, who served here for a year and a half as the chief of Houlton sector. You did a phenomenal job, and we asked you to go train our new agents, and you've done a phenomenal job with that responsibility, and you continue to lead, so thank you. I'd also like to thank the men and women who put on this event, the Honor Guard members that came from all over the country to participate, as well as the folks behind the scenes to make this momentous occasion memorable for both Chief Maddox and his wife, Brenda. Brenda, to you, man, you've got the biggest job in this room. I've only got to lead the Border Patrol, but you've got to make sure that Chief Maddox stays on the straight and narrow. So God bless you, and wish you all the best on that endeavor. To Chief Maddox, we're entrusting you with 32,000 square miles, 200 plus employees, millions of dollars in assets and facilities, but most importantly, we're entrusting you with keeping our communities and our nation safe. JFK said, "If not us, who? If not now, when?" It's now. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Chief Ortiz. Please direct your attention to the center of the stage, where Chief Ortiz will pin the Chief Patrol Agent badge on Chief Maddox and administer the oath of office. On this historic occasion, Chief Maddox is being promoted to Chief Patrol Agent and joins a group of men and women charged with leading the continuing transformation of government. Chief Maddox possesses well-honed executive skills and shares a broad perspective of government and commitment to public service. Chief Ortiz is pinning the Chief Patrol Agent badge on Chief Maddox. Chief Maddox began his Border Patrol career in 1997 as a member of Academy Class 359 at Mercedes Station in McAllen Sector, now named West Coast Station in Rio Grande Valley Sector. He previously served as a supervisory Border Patrol agent in Yuma Station, Assistant Chief Patrol Agent at Houlton Sector, and Patrol Agent in charge of the Houlton Station. Chief Maddox also has held positions at U.S. Border Patrol headquarters to include Assistant Chief, Associate Chief, and Deputy Chief and Headquarter Directorates before becoming Deputy Chief Patrol Agent in Swanton Sector. During his time as Deputy Chief Patrol Agent, he has served as Acting Chief Patrol Agent for Swanton, Grand Forks, and Havre sectors. Before joining the Border Patrol, he served with the United States Army from 1983 through 1987 as a member of the 325th Airborne Battalion Combat Team assigned to NATO's Southern European Task Force. Chief Maddox has an associate's degree in criminal justice, associate and master's certificates from George Washington University, and is near completion of his bachelor degree from Excelsior College. He is also a graduate of the CBP Leadership Institute and CBP Command Prep. Chief Patrol Agent William J. Maddox will now reaffirm his commitment to the protection of the sovereign borders of the United States of America.
I state your name. I, William James Maddox. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation. Or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully. Discharge the duties of the office. On which I'm about to enter. So help me God.
On behalf of the Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, United States Border Patrol, and at the direction of Acting Commissioner Troy A. Miller, Chief Patrol Agent William J. Maddox assumes command of Houlton Sector, effective immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand.
Deliver the baton to Chief Owen. All uniformed personnel, all attendant groups.
The change of command ceremony you're witnessing is deeply rooted in military tradition and allows Border Patrol agents to participate in the transition of leadership. The Border Patrol guidon that is being exchanged is unique in that it is the actual Border Patrol organizational colors that reside at Border Patrol headquarters, 1300 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C. The 21 green and gold streamers represent each of the 20 operational sectors of the Border Patrol and the Border Patrol Academy. Chief Ortiz passes not only the trust and well-being of Houlton Sector, but the commitment, trust, and fidelity of our most sacred Border Patrol symbol.
Sir, I relinquish command.
Only 4 words are spoken as a guidon is passed to the new commander, but in those few words, the continuity of leadership advances forward. For Chief Maddox, it declares that the reins of command are firmly vested in his hands. For the men and women of Houlton Sector sworn to protect our borders, our Constitution, and our way of life, it reaffirms their commitment, service, and honor. For the communities we serve, it reassures our fellow citizens living the daily experience of freedom and sacred liberty that they shall continue to be served with renewed determination and unbroken accountability. At this time, Chief Maddox will give his first command.
Hooray! Hooray!
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Customs and Border Protection, it is my distinct honor to present to you William J. Maddox, Chief Patrol Agent, Houlton Sector. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Harmon. And Chief, thank you. You've got a tremendous responsibility on your shoulders with everything that's going on with the United States Border Patrol. We know you have a very busy schedule. To have the grace for you to grace us with your presence in this occasion is, we're grateful. We'll always be grateful. So thank you. So, a lot of folks in here know me. You know I consider myself a humble man, and as such I insisted on a humble environment for the change of command. Hence we came up with the idea, the Deputy Chief's recommendation of holding it in the garage here at Fort Fairfield Station. Not as humble as I was expecting. To have you all with the Chief gracing me with your presence, I thank you. I'm humbled and honored to be standing here in front of you today. To have the team, to the Chief's point, that set up this stage to get everything ready. Believe it or not, this is a flatbed trailer underneath this bunting. Stairs made specifically by a CBP employee, Troy Bradstreet, built the stairs specifically to match up with this trailer. And to have the honor guard and everybody who pitched in to get this event in motion and to get us to where we are today, I thank you so much. Again, I am humbled and honored. And I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but to have this all on my occasion is absolutely spectacular. So thank you. It's a resourceful lot that we've got, and again, with everything going on. I also want to thank my wife for being here with me, Brenda, and I want to thank everybody here for recognizing her in this event. Just being married to me is probably difficult in and of itself, let alone the complexities and pressures that come with a career in law enforcement, and then all the movement that comes with moving up in the chain of command, all the movements that I've made. Some of them she joined me with, some of them she was unable to when I went on details, some of which were extended periods of time. That's a lot for a family, and she's to be credited for sticking it out with me. And making preparations for today, I thought back a lot of the folks that have influenced me, and sometimes you go through life and you influence people and you don't even realize that you're influencing. And I thought about a conversation I had with Robert Harris, who's a retired chief. He probably doesn't even remember the conversation, but I asked him about his experiences moving up in the chain of command. And what he told me was, it's not that I'm better than everybody else. It's not that I'm smarter or wiser or more experienced, because just looking around the room, there's a ton of experience here, a ton of experience in the United States Border Patrol. But he said, what needs to happen is the stars need to align. The stars need to align for you. The right vacancies have to occur at the right time. You have to be in the right place at the right time. And all of these things sometimes just happen by happenstance or coincidence. Other times it's because you make the effort to get out there and put yourself into a position where you're next in line. But it's not going to happen that easily. Again, the stars need to align. I look around the room and I see folks in this room, some of whom I've known for my entire career. Some are here, some were invited, could not attend for one reason or another. And I'd like to talk to a few of those folks. Warren Reck, I don't know if he's out here with all these lights in my face. Warren's out there. My brother from another mother. I couldn't ask for a better friend. Matt Curran. I've known Matt for my entire career. We were in the academy together, not as classmates, but we were in the academy together. Went to Weslaco, Texas together. We served on the boat unit together. We bounced around in our careers, and our careers have crossed paths a couple of times, and I'm looking forward to having him back on the team up here in Houlton in the near future. But to have somebody that I've known so many years here with everybody else, but that you have known me since day one when I got to Mercedes Station, and I'm so pleased to have you here in the audience. Coming up here to Maine on my first tour, Steve Brooker, Tim Martin, the seniors that took me under their wing and taught me the ropes around here in the Van Buren Station AOR. And not only that, but accepted me even though I was from away, right? Thank you guys. I couldn't have worked with a better crew, you guys included. I know there's a few more out here. I'm not certain everybody here. I know Dale Caratoro was here, who was up there with us during those times. Mark Albert over there in the corner was our patrol agent in charge. Things I learned from Mark was humility, right? Because as I moved up the ranks and Mark stayed there, he was the PEIC. We knew we'd run Mark out as the PEIC because he was never going to leave. We're surprised that you're not still there, Mark. But what I learned from Mark was, again, humility. In fact, when I came back, coming back to sector, leaving his station as a line agent, and then coming back years later as an ACPA at headquarters, and having Mark there welcoming me back with a smile. Again, humility. I was coming back into a higher level position, and I thought, how great is that to have him welcoming me back with a big grin on his face, saying he's glad to see me and glad that I'm back in the position I was taking. What an honor to have somebody that you worked for welcome you back, knowing that he would potentially be working for me. Thank you, Mark. Dennis Harmon, Deputy Chief. Dennis and I have gone back a few years working together here at Houlton Sector as agents. And then I came back. Dennis worked for me for a time, and then I worked for him. We've bounced back and forth. We've butted heads a couple of times, but we've always been able to come to a resolve on any issues that we had, whether that was personal differences or differences in opinion on how we would handle operations here at Houlton Sector. We always came up with a resolution, and we always succeeded. We will continue that success as we proceed forward as chief and deputy. I couldn't think of a better man to be my deputy, Dennis. It's great, thank you. Chief Owens. Chief Owens, clearly as the previous chief, right? The last chief here, but I've known Chief Owens for many years. In fact, met him, I believe it was post 9/11, as we've discussed in the past. But some of the things that we don't share much are some of the things that we've gone through together. When I went through SRT Basic, Chief Owens was on the cadre there as one of the instructors, and he was also the team medic at the time, so he had a dual role. So he had to put on one hat or the other hat, depending on the situation of the day. One minute he's screaming in my face, the next minute he's caring for my injuries. During the time I was suffering from a little bit of a knee injury, so I was wearing a knee brace going through that. I don't know if you knew that. I kept that hidden from you. But I also, on day one, we went on a 6-mile run. It was raining, and we went through the sand down there, and I got sand in my shoes, and I developed a massive blister on my foot. I don't know, it took up most of the bottom of my foot. So every night, Chief Owens had to take care of me. He had to drain that blister until it broke and became a bloody wound, and he continued to care for me and watch it, make sure it didn't get infected, right? And these are things that we do every day in the Border Patrol, taking care of each other. He was there training me, but he was also there taking care of me. In the same round of events, Crandall Schenk, who came up here earlier with the guide on. So I've known Crandall, again, almost my entire career. We served together on SRT down in McAllen Sector. We came up here at the same time. We've ran in the same circles over the years. But it was Crandall Schenk who, during that same class, when I started having difficulties in keeping up, Crandall Schenk, we were on a run one time, and Crandall Schenk backed up because I was slowing down the crowd. Crandall Schenk backed up and he said, "Grab a hold of my shirt," and he towed me. He pulled me so I could keep up. Thank you, Crandall. George Furlan, George and I worked in Border Patrol Search, Trauma, and Rescue. George was the one carrying the American flag up here on stage. George and I have known each other, again, almost our entire career. We worked together down there in RGV. We also worked together on Borstar operations and continued that working as EMTs and taking care of Borstar operations here in Houlton sector together. And again, to have George carrying the American flag coming up here on stage, again, what an honor. Thank you, George. It's always an honor. Rich Fortunato, Acting Chief Patrol Agent in Swanton sector. A little story about Rich. So he was working at the headquarters level, and he was detailed out to the National Frontline Command, which doesn't fall under a Border Patrol command structure. It falls under another CBP office. And Rich had been doing the recruiting thing for some time, and he was pretty excited for his new adventure. And I had an opening in my shop, and I called Rich and offered him the job, and he gladly accepted. He said, you know, this is great. I'm looking forward to this new opportunity, and really looking to pass on the recruiting efforts to someone else. And between that conversation and a couple days later when he was going to enter on duty to work for me, some things changed. And the Border Patrol, we were starting up our own recruiting effort, and that fell on my shoulders. And so day one, Chief Fortunato shows up ready for that new assignment, only to find out, hey, Rich, I know I told you you're going to come over and do this, but I need you to head up another recruiting effort. Without missing a beat, he said, Roger that, Chief. I was looking forward to that other opportunity. However, wherever the organization needs me, I'm ready. So what do you need from me? Rich, your kind of attitude is what the Border Patrol has, what we need, and what we continue to need. And I hope that you will continue that kind of mentality moving forward and pass that on to the folks that work for you, that stick-to-it nature, that get it done regardless of the assignment, whether you want it or not. If you get tasked with something, Roger that, you're going to carry the water. You've done that. Thank you so much, Rich. A couple of folks that aren't here today. My brother Roy. He's been a mentor and a sounding board for me for many years. I wish he were here. Taylor Bachman, Rich Hudson, and Scott Hoover, all friends and supporters. They've inspired and advocated on my behalf quite often over the last few years. Taylor Bachman going far above and beyond as my deputy patrol agent in charge when I was at Houlton Station. Then he worked for me at headquarters as well. He's always been there for me as a friend. We've bounced ideas off of each other for many years, and I couldn't ask for a better friend in the organization, and I wish he were here as well. It was Scott Hoover and Taylor Bachman who gave me the moniker at headquarters of the Gray Man. And in fact, when I left headquarters, they gave me a t-shirt. I wore it over here the other day. I don't know if anybody noticed. It said, Gray Man Leadership, Leading in Plain Sights in 1997. And what they mean about Gray Man is I have a habit of being involved in a situation and guiding the decision making, but making those people involved have ownership in it. To take it and have ownership and to empower and to embolden them to execute on their plans. And when it gets done and they say, look what I did, and they come back and show me, Chief, look what I did. And that's what it's about when I talk about being a gray man. It's having that ability to put yourself in the background. Very important to the Chief's point. When we're developing the future leaders, we need to empower and embolden them and make sure that they have not only the ability, but the willingness to take on responsibilities and make decisions on behalf of the government and on behalf of the United States Border Patrol. And we've got that every day. The men and women in green go out and they make decisions for the organization, for the government. To all of you, thank you. In addition to the many folks I've mentioned, I know I missed a lot. There's people in this room and a lot of people that I could go on and on for hours and hours with hundreds of stories of the people that supported me over the years. But even those folks that I just met, the team that put all of this together today, most of them I've only recently met. A solid team that I inherited here at Houlton sector, but quickly adopted as my own and have supported me as their chief from day one. I couldn't ask for a better, a stronger team, and I thank you for your support, going above and beyond. I'm certain giving of your own time and resources to put all of this together for me on my behalf. Thank you. The many partnerships, Coast Guard, the Maine Warden's Service, U.S. Attorney's Office. We've got folks from all kind of different organizations here that we partner with here at Houlton Sector. Some I've met, some I've only recently met or haven't had an opportunity to meet yet today, and hopefully I'll get a chance to meet you before we part ways today. But that shows, to the Chief's point, the partnerships that have been developed here at Houlton Sector. Some of them already in place. There's new ones to be developed, and we will reinforce those pre-existing and build new ones, all in the name of securing the border. The professional staff that I have at Houlton Sector as well. I talk a lot about the agents, the professional staff at Houlton Sector. Some I've only recently met when I came back. Some have been here for years, supporting my efforts, both as an ACPA, PAIC, and now as a Chief Patrol Agent. Stephanie Jacobs, who oversees our mission readiness operations, is here. Kathy Collins, Pat Miller, Dora Schenk, who's married to Crandall Schenk, who I told you about earlier. All of these folks, some of them gone. Lou Jean, who could not be here, my executive staff assistant. Mary Beth, who was a previous employee who retired shortly after I got here. I was hoping that she could have stayed on. But all these folks that take care of me and take care of Sector, take care of business for the Border Patrol. Again, we talk a lot about the agents, but the support staff are the ones keeping the wheels turning at the sector and station level. So I'm thinking back to my original talking points that I had, my conversation with Chief Harris, when I talked about the stars lining up, and I reflect on that. Everybody in this room is a star lining up for me. Everybody that I talked to, the hundreds of people that I could tell you stories about how they carried me, in some cases literally, across the finish line. I wouldn't be standing here today. It's not my own accomplishments that got me here. It's been the teamwork that happens in the United States Border Patrol, an organization I am proud to be a part of. Many of you, even retired folks who have come, shows that you still care about me, that you still care about our organization, you still care about our mission. I couldn't be prouder to be standing here in front of you as your chief, the Houlton Sector. We are proud to represent you, taking care of Houlton, and we stand ready as United States Border Patrol to support you in your efforts here or nationwide, whether that's on the southwest border, on the northern border elsewhere, or here. We are ready. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Once again, thank you, Brenda.
Please stand as Border Patrol Chaplain Brian Cornyn delivers the benediction.
If we could bow one more time, please. Dear Lord, as we go, keep our hearts and minds on things above and the joyful days yet to come. Please be with Chief Ortiz, Chief Maddox, the management team, and the agents of the Border Patrol as we fulfill the calling we have humbly accepted to carry out the mission of the Border Patrol. Thank you for everything we have been given. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for the retiring of the colors.
Honor guard, retire the colors. All uniform personnel, attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of the Customs and Border Protection family, we'd like you to join us for some light refreshments in the conference room. Once again, thank you for your attendance, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon.